Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm trying to get more regular with my streams, and I'm pretty excited about it. So, last time we were on, I was talking about creating an issue that mapped all of the items we needed to get done for our functional prototype, which is what we are working on now. And I got that in, and now the task is I am needing to make the class selection scene functional prototype. And I'll give the 2-minute elevator speech because my channel is pretty new, but my husband and I are working on a CRPG compressed into a 30-minute experience. So it's going to be a fantasy RPG, but in the style of a retro fantasy 1990s, like Ultima or Wizardry, which I started playing, but really, I was playing Wizardry 6, and I might actually do a playthrough of that so you guys can watch me suffer, because I watched somebody play a YouTube video of it, or somebody did a YouTube video of a playthrough on Wizardry 6, and this person had done research for weeks before they started playing, and I'm going to play it completely blind as I had started doing it, just suffered miserably. But I have a lot of nostalgia, I think, with how chaotic everything is these days about what it felt like to play games in the 90s when everything was interesting and novel and cool on the computer. And so I'm trying to combine that love with a love for my brother and my husband and I playing Dominion online over and over and over and over again. So the project started out as a retro RPG reskin of Dominion, but has evolved quite a bit from that. So some of the elements for sure that are sticking around or have stuck around are, it is a deck builder. It still has the fantasy CRPG elements to it, but I've pivoted more to a kind of an auto battler, so it's not so much about the order in which you play the cards, but it'll be very much in the cards that you build. And the thing that I'm most excited about with this project is that the cards are just actions that one would take, and they are purchased by leveling up. So you have a skill tree, and as you gain experience by defeating monsters and training your specific attributes, you can turn that experience into more cards by purchasing them in the skill tree, aka leveling up. And it all makes sense as I get more of it to show you, but I'm very excited about it. So that's the project, and we are a 2-person team that are writing this game in C++ on top of a game engine that we built ourselves. So we are handmade from the bottom up, except for, if you see here, we didn't make task flow, we did not make Jolt physics, we did not make Tracy that we use for profiling, and we did not make the abstraction layer that we're using for graphics, but it's reasonably low level, so a lot of the graphics decisions we still have made, but I mean, everything else and of course MGUI. I'm sure that I'm missing a couple open source libraries, but the things we do make, I mean, we write all the code for the game ourselves, we make all the assets by hand. I use AI at work, but this is not a project I want to use AI in because I'm in it for the love of the craft. All right, that is the elevator pitch. So today, like I mentioned, what I'm working on is the functional prototype for the class selection menu. So it builds, because I can't remember where I left off. I'll show you where we're at now. So you can start a single player game, you can invite your Steam friends to a party, you can make a lobby, and then what I'm working on right now is the class selection menu. And this is all very functional prototype level. And today, I can't stream long. I probably will never be able to stream long, but today I'm going to be trying to get, I forgot hold on, let me pull up my live. There we go. So I won't be able to stream long, probably just about another 40 minutes, but the goal for the day is to get all of the buttons that I need for the class selection and hopefully get the backend integrated, although there is some research I have to do to plug into what my husband's been working on, which is the networking and the infrastructure as far as how we send events and commands and packets back and forth from the server. And I've got to study that a little bit, so I plug it in a reasonable way. So I'm not sure how far into that I'll get today, but I am carrying on with mocking up the prototype here, and then I'll plug it in either next stream or maybe I'll jump back on later tonight. I'm not sure yet. Okay. I'm realizing that I should really practice my elevator pitch for the game, which is why it's so good that I'm streaming, because by the time I'm ready to release this puppy, I will have that nailed. Okay, so we're working on our table here and things are not going well. So oh, that's not the move. Why did for those that see this and gasp in horror, I can debug. I probably just should, but it's kind of a pain with Steam integration because you first launch your application and then you have to attach it. Steam restarts it and you have to attach again, and it's like an additional click in the. It's an additional click in my VS Code. It's 2 clicks to set it up. Ain't nobody got time for 2 clicks. Okay, so there are only 4 columns. So tell me why I have 5. Oh, because my table is bigger than the space that I put for each column. That makes sense. So, but you would think that this, yeah, okay, so player class tile height is what I set my table to be. The height, which is the same as the width because it's a square cell, and then times my max number of players, which is 4. And if I do, well, what if I just do this? this. What's my... Actually gonna capture this, so and just to make this more clear, all I did there is that I use ratios of the extent of the window to define the size of elements in my screen so that when I resize, they fit. And I have a little element padding that's just fixed 0.001 of... Actually, I don't want the padding to be bigger in the width than the height, so I'm just going to make a static. I don't want a vector here. I just want a single padding value. And we'll make it off of the width so it's a little bit bigger. Okay, then... Yeah, see, it's already a bug here. I've actually run into that, wondering why there are 5 cells in my 4-cell table before, and remembered that it was padding, but I'd forgotten the second time around. Okay, that almost took care of it. So... it's really strange, because this should be... What if we just don't subtract the element padding? What does that give me? And I can move that in there, but I thought I swore I just did this and it didn't fit. Yeah. Gosh. So... I wish there was just an auto size. Maybe there is. Oh, what is this? Oh my gosh. So I copied this from my other table. And it's fixed size. I don't want fixed size. I want auto sizing. All right, which one are you? Let's just get in there so we can see the comments. Oh, that's what I want. Then I can get rid of the padding because I just want you to be the size that you are. I think that this property should auto-size my cells to be the width of their contents. That's what I'm interpreting that property, that flag as. When in doubt, read the documentation. Hey, look at that. I'm not going to center it right now. Got bigger fish to fry. Let's keep these extracted here into methods because it will get unwieldy quickly if I do not. Actually, I don't need padding here anymore now that I am building my table. Oh, actually, I do because I want my... Oh, maybe I don't. I would prefer not to have it because if the table does auto-size to fit its contents, I won't need it. Then I don't have to muck up my method signatures with extra variables that I don't need. going to call it window dimensions to keep it simple. What did I do? What did I do here? Yeah. Nice. Make that a little bit bigger. The nice thing about setting everything up to draw off of ratios is that you can just edit sizing here instead of going in and finding every place where you set size and updating it and having to back edit everything else to match. All right, so we have our title, we have our loadout of the classes that the character has picked, and let's just experiment. Let's pretend that somebody has let's just make sure that this works. So I already have wired up a class that can go from either runtime loaded asset or runtime loaded texture, or then textures that we create and upload at compile time or design time, if you will, statically. And then all we have to do is just access the image cache and get the name of that texture file, and I should probably test that. Yeah, nice. Okay. Seems like the right size. So what we're going to have here, this will be centered, which it's bugging me more and more that I haven't done it yet. Then when you come in here, each player will be given a turn order, and then I'll have a... Oh, that's actually going to be way too big. Then I'm going to have a printout of the 3 classes, or an image of each of the 3 classes and a description for each, and then a button that says select class, select barbarian, select wizard, select rogue. And when it's your turn, you can pick. And there are some, and you can, every player can be the same class, but the challenge will be that there's a fixed and shared card library of skills that are shared globally, except that the skill trees go based on the stat that goes with the class. So if everybody picks rogue, there's going to be a lot of contention for rogue-based skill cards. So it's important to pick or to strategize around picking something that other players are not picking. So I think I am going to center this. I'm treading a very fine line between details that don't matter, but then being so annoyed with something that I can't carry on. Okay. If anyone knows if there's a nice way to center something in MGUI, let me know. Well, had I done this months and months ago? Dimensions. Oh, haha. There is a nice way to do it. So, probably end of last year, my husband had left the project, so I was working on it by myself. And I don't even remember if we had networking in at that point, but I went all the way through much farther than I actually have been now, and came up with some clever things, like ways to manage panels and fonts and images in MGUI. And then ended up rolling it all back as we pivoted to, we changed a bunch of the ideas, or I changed a bunch of the ideas, and then switched over to Steam, and that made a lot of things that I had in place even in the UI change, because I had finally created like a finalized game design document rather than just kind of freeballing it, if you will. So when I decided to, so backing up a little bit, my initial plan when I was streaming earlier was to make a vertical slice, which is different than a functional prototype in the sense that I wanted almost no playable gameplay, but just enough playable gameplay that I could start showing things around on TikTok and getting some attention for the project to see if there was interest in it. And that had a very different set of needs than what I'm doing now, which is functional prototype. So all of the things that you need to play the game will be in the game, and the visuals will not be high fidelity. And that way I can vet it myself and see, is it actually fun before I start marketing it. In the rare case where I get a lot of attention in the other way when I'm doing vertical slice, and then I end up getting to the point where I have a prototype and it's not fun and I lose interest. So going the other way around. But in doing so, I took some time off and started just like from beginning to end designing what the game should behave like, and wrote that all down in a GDD. And that created some changes, and enough changes to warrant most of my UI code to be useless. Then I started into Steam integration, once I had the GDD finalized, started into Steam integration, and then that basically nullified the rest of what I had here. So we're on rewrite 2. If you're wondering why there's a bunch of commented out code, that's why. But I think this approach is more sound because there's so many more decisions than you would think when you're working on a project like this. And if you invest too much time on something before those decisions have been vetted out by means of actually being implemented, then a lot of that can be wasted time. So that's why I run into situations where I already do have a nice way to center something and have forgotten how to do it. So this would be the right before I begin the table. I want to set. Oh, I know I need no dimensions. No, I just need the extent here. That'll be fine. Extent.x minus player class tile height times max points. Should be my table size. So I want to set it at, take the extent, which is all the way to the right, for you guys all the way to the right, and then get the height of the table or the width of the table, and then multiply that by half, and then you subtract the extent by half of that width, and that'll allow you to put it exactly where it needs to be when you start drawing from the left to the right. So hopefully that's all I need to do. What did I do? So there's an auto size happening here, which isn't represented here. So how do there's a way of making it cool here. Size of table movie. Yeah, I was subtracting. I didn't mean to. I don't think that's quite centered. That'll be close enough that it won't bug me. Then I'll fix it later. Okay, so we have our player selection here, and then we have that smaller. Five. And then underneath, I want to have a picking order. So, first I'm going to do the classes, I think. So, giving a button ID, and then cache dot. Oh, this is the controller. That's right. So anything that has to do with external resources and not the UI itself, any concerns go in the controller class. So I want to do get. Oh, it should be renamed. And this can be class. Right, so then this method, what this does is it, given a class ID, it returns the icon for the class, which is going to go in, like, once you click a class, that little array that we've been working on, it'll just go right in there. And then this will be the actual, like, informational, here's what the class is picture. And it'll be above text describing what you get if you pick that class. And I only have barbarian icon, and it's going to change anyway. But what I'll probably do quick is grab him. It's always a jump scare when you open your Photoshop because you never know what's on there. Okay. So this guy is my barbarian that I drew last year for this project, and I'm going to just cheat for now and make him, reuse him for the rogue. And I think my time is up. I will maybe try to get back on tonight because I've got a lot of work left to do. All right, I will